Today, I want to talk to my buyers out there, or if you're considering getting into the market and buying a home this year. We've looked at a lot of what's gone on in the last year or two, and I got to be honest with you. Uh, Buying a home is not the same as it was last year or 2 years ago. Things have changed, and you're like, well, what could have possibly changed, Ryan? Well, honestly, what I'm seeing in the market, it's basically more of what we've seen in the past, but at a higher intensity level. And like, what does that mean? And what I'm seeing out there in the market now is we have a lot of institutional buyers that are coming in as investors, and they're purchasing homes. And what does that mean? They're buying these homes up and they're looking to put them into a rental status. And then that creates competition with you as the consumer that's looking just to purchase a home for their family. What we saw a couple of years ago is these institutional buyers would come in and they would offer cash, and that's great, but they weren't really at asking price. They were still wanting a deal on the house. Well, that has changed, and in this current market with the suppressed inventory that we have, they're actually coming up and going over asking price with cash, and it makes it even more competitive for you as the consumer in the market. And so that doesn't sound like a fun thing, and I get that. And that's why it's so important to have the conversation. And it's a lot of what we do. We have a home buying process that we go through, and it all starts with really after you first decide that you think you want to get into the market and possibly purchase a home this year. We want to get together with you. At that point, we want to have that consultation. And what we believe is having that consultation allows us to find out more about you, what your goals are, and how we can help you achieve those. It's also a big educational piece to educate you as the consumer about what's going on in the market and how we're going to navigate it. We find that those consultations, where they may be an hour, they could save us 20, 30, 40 hours of labor of being out in the field and learning kind of on the job. We get so far ahead of the pace when we meet together. So that's the next step. We get together, we do the consultation. After we figure out what's going on in the market, we educate the consumer on that. Then we're going to go find our money. All right. We've got to get with the lender. We've got several preferred lenders we'd love to get you connected with. And the reason why is if we find our money, that solves the problem. When we go out and start looking at houses, we know immediately whether or not this is a house that we want. And we're going to have to make a faster decision in this market because of the pace of the market. And that's the next piece. You're going to be learning the market conditions. And what does that look like? We're actually going to be sending you properties that are on the market. And you're like, well, we're not buying for 3 or 4 months, and that's okay. But what you're going to do is see how fast houses are coming on the market. And then in a couple days, they're coming right back off the market. And that allows you to see what type of homes are coming on, if they meet your needs, or if we need to make an adjustment. And we are certainly happy to do that on price, size, whatever it may be. We'll make those adjustments. You as a consumer get to become more professionally knowledgeable on what's going on right now in the niche area that you're looking for. And then when it comes time, within about 30 days of purchasing the house, boom, we're out looking at houses, and you know what's going on. You understand how fast the houses are going to move, and if this is going to be something that fits your needs. So once we get all of that going, we're going to be out looking at houses. We're going to be actually touring them, and then you'll be making a decision on whether or not it's going to be your house. Next, we're going to make your offer, all right? And it's not about just writing it up and sending it over to the listing agent, all right? There's some things that have got to happen. And what we do and what we find works really well for our clients is reaching out and having that conversation with the listing agent. What it allows us to do is find out what's important to the sellers, because it's not always about the dollar, okay? And we talked about this before earlier in the video. It's time, right? Time is our biggest asset. So if we're able to make that connection with the listing agent, find out what's the most important to that seller. Maybe it is a quick close. Maybe they need a longer close because they are looking for a home to buy as well. Well, if we're able to meet them on their terms, they may look at our offer a lot more serious, and we don't have to have that super high number out there that somebody's willing to throw to purchase the house. So we've got a lot of different techniques that we like to use, and that's just one of them. And we'll talk more about that in our consultation. So after we get the offer submitted, honestly, what are we wanting to do? We're wanting to get it accepted, and that's the hooray right there, right? We're under contract, and we're allowed then at that point to conduct our inspections and move through the process of the escrow. And once we're moving through that, that's usually about 30 days, we're going to get you through that. We'll be finishing up inspections, making sure there's nothing majorly wrong with the house. We'll get the appraisal conducted as well, making sure the house comes back appraised. And that is a concern in this market as well. We've got to look at, will the house appraise? And that's part of what we're looking at when we're making the offer. We're looking at the comparables in the market and what actually has sold, and does this house hold the value of what we're offering. And so we'll be educating you on that all along the way. And then once we finish up with all of that, your lender, and we'll be working with them as well, we'll be finishing up your financing. They'll be sending you through underwriting, making sure that your loan is ready to go, and you'll be receiving the clear to close. That is the most amazing thing you want to hear from your realtor, is clear to close. That means everything has been done. It's a formality now at this point. We're going to set up an appointment with title to get you over there on your closing day, and then boom, we close, and then you take possession, usually that day, or we may make arrangements for a couple days later depending on what the seller's needs are. Now, that's in a nutshell of the process, and I went through that very quickly, I know, for the video here, but understand this: when we sit down together, that's my favorite thing to do, is consult and find out what your goals are. I look forward to those meetings, and honestly, that's what I love most about my job. So again, guys, if you have other questions about the buying process or what this market looks like, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to help anytime. And remember, it all starts with the consultation. That will save you time, and ultimately it'll save you money. I'm Ryan Finn with the Finn Group. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.